Hello everybody and welcome to the United Stand. Manchester United to go into Wembley, get my words out, just like Forest. And yeah, Ten Hag is incredible. I've just been playing around with titles for the show actually. I was going to go with Bruno's superb. We're going to Wembley, but I landed on Ten Hag is incredible because I genuinely think Ten Hag is incredible. Get your player ratings in, links in the video description. Mark every player out of 10, 6 being the average. We'll get into that in a few minutes' time, but look, the turnaround at Manchester United should not be swept under the carpet. It really shouldn't. This is a manager that no expert or ex-player or journalist wanted. I'm not saying they didn't want him, but they weren't championing him. The fan base was championing him. The fan base were going, this is the next Nagelsmann, this is the next Klopp, this is the next Pep, this is the manager that we need. And, you know, that justification is great if you thought that. But even if you didn't think that, the job that Ten Hag has done, I fail to see how anybody could have done any better. And I include some of the greatest managers in the world. The job he has done in the period he's been here, with the limitations that are there, the people that work above him, the squad that he inherited, new signings don't always gel straight away. I think it's incredible what he's done. And if you don't think it's incredible or you just want to class it as good, why have we not been in a cup? Why have we not won a trophy in 5 years? We are straight into the first cup final he can get us into. We are still in other trophies. We are in the top 4. Dale has gifted 10 memberships. Thank you, Dale. And I just think that I feel less concerned about the biggest risk for Manchester United this season is fatigue. And it's not even a player and it's not even a team. It's just energy levels and volume of games. That's the only thing that I'm worried about. I have total faith in Erik Ten Hag. I have total confidence in what he can do. I think he is a tactical genius and I think he can take this club back to where it needs to be. I genuinely think that there are not Sir Alex Ferguson vibes, but similarities in the sense that the club's been on its knees and a manager comes from another country where he's been successful and rebuilds Man United in a new way. Instead of clinging on to the past, we build it in a new way like Sir Alex Ferguson did. And I feel that like Ten Hag is going to do that. Sir Alex Ferguson came down from Aberdeen. He'd never played or managed Manchester United. And he rebuilt it into something that was called the Man United way. But people forget that he didn't have a Man United way blueprint. He did it himself. And I feel that Ten Hag may well, hopefully in a few years' time, be connected with the Man United way, even though he didn't have a United way. He's built it himself. It's remarkable what he's done. It's incredible what he's done. And this season, in my mind, really just comes down now to the only enemy we have is fatigue and volume of games. That's the only thing that I think can derail us. I think we're capable of beating anybody. I think we're capable of winning anything this season. But I think the biggest fear is volume of games. My first ever match watching person is going to be at Wembley. I'm well chuffed, says Gore. And Bruno at right wing and Sancho at 10. Discussion. I'm bemused. We'll talk about that in a bit, Jeff. We'll talk about that in a minute. But look, of course, we've got Newcastle in the final. Let's talk about this Carabao Cup. Very, very deserved run to the final for Man United. We'll play Newcastle. It's going to be a great, great game. It's going to be a really great game because Newcastle are a good team. And, you know, they're up there with us. They're having as good a season as us. Eddie Howe is doing as good as us. We're joint third at the moment. So it's going to be a really interesting final. Both clubs desperate to win a trophy. That trophy represents a massive step forward of development for both clubs. It's going to be really interesting. And normally, I would put Manchester United as favourites, not just because we're a bigger and better club, but because I think we've got the better players and the better manager. But the advantage that Newcastle will have is that they play Liverpool on the Saturday night and then they don't play the final for 8 days. We will play, I think it's Leicester on the Sunday, and then we'll play Barcelona on the Thursday night, and then we'll play Newcastle on the Sunday afternoon. So we're playing Barcelona Thursday night and Newcastle Sunday afternoon when they've got a whole week off. So it's, again, this is the only negative, is just the sheer volume of games. And it's 8 games away that we play that final as well. I think Newcastle play 4. So what team will be able to put out, whether we'll have to rotate. Can you put your strongest team out against Barcelona on the Thursday night and then do it again on the Sunday? I think anybody who's playing against Barcelona is going to want to play in the final anyway. The only thing that is a barrier to success for United at the moment is just the sheer volume of games. But there's a buzz around that team. There's an excitement around that team. There's a smile on the face of that team and Erik ten Hag. And look, I just hope that momentum and smile and enthusiasm can get them through what is going to be a very challenging month on the legs and mentally as well. Every game's winnable. You know, Palace is winnable. Leeds twice is winnable. Barcelona is winnable. Leicester is winnable. Newcastle is winnable. But we might be surviving on fumes because the petrol's going to start running low, or the electric car if you want to be environmentally friendly. We're going to need a recharge. Erik ten Hag is just the second Man United manager to reach a cup final in their first season since Sir Alex retired, says Abrusi. And we had more possession this game than the first half because even though Fred lacks creativity, him and Casemiro do a great job winning the ball back quickly. Fred has been playing well consistently too, says Billy Smith. Ten Hag subbing on Lindelof for Casemiro in a dead game to try him is the definition of a proper coach, says Barima. I want to know about that because I do a Man United FIFA career mode and I'm in my first season and I'm doing okay. But I have used Lindelof as a CDM because I don't really have one when Casemiro's not playing. And I don't know whether that's just because I've been doing it or I don't think that... I thought Lindelof played as a CDM recently, like Palace away or something like that. Or am I imagining that? I don't think that's the first time we've seen him as a CDM under Ten Hag, but I like it. I think the Sancho thing at 10 is interesting. We've already seen it with Luke Shaw. I know the chat's going to love it because these are the sort of theories you've been having for years. Well, Lindelof as a CDM for years. Sancho, a lot of you have been talking about him as a 10. I mean, look, I'll always come with the logic answer. I don't think it makes sense to play Lindelof as a CDM long-term or Sancho as a 10 long-term, but... Look, Luke Shaw as a centre-back long-term doesn't make sense, but as an option, when you're still building your team out, it's very intelligent. I'm watching from South Africa, says Africa. We're the famous Man United and we're going to Wembley, says Sensley. Ten Hag subbing on Lindelof for Casemiro. We've done that one from Barima as well. Thanks for the super chats. Make sure you smash a like on the video. We're going to do the player ratings in a minute, but Manchester United, we're going to Wembley. But before we talk about the player ratings and before we talk about what has been a remarkable, incredible season so far, and long may it continue, let's talk about the return of Anthony Martial and Jadon Sancho. Ten Hag is a Twitch sub confirmed, says Nicola. Yeah, I think it's let me just tell people about the website's down. It couldn't have gone much better. It couldn't have gone much better for Manchester United tonight. A few people moaned about us picking a strong team. I just want to hit that nail head on. It's not a told you so, but a few people were moaning about the lack of rotation and not picking a strong team. Well, Rashford didn't start. That's rotation. Varane needed a game, so he had to play. Luke Shaw came back in. He's not played the last two as well. So there is rotation there. It's not the rotation people want. Nottingham Forest had a really good 2 chances in the first half. I thought Tom Heaton played well, by the way. And if they score one of those chances against a weakened United side, they might get back in the game. So I think Ten Hag got it right. I think, at the end of the day, it was important that we didn't concede. And then, what did he do? He brings Sancho, Martial and Rashford on with 25 minutes to go and we killed the game off. I actually think that the way Ten Hag handled the game was absolutely superb. Hi Mark, can you please wish Houston's mum a very happy birthday month? We love watching all your shows, says Houston's dad. Thank you very much. Happy birthday to mum. Seriously, Maguire at CDM, my favourite clip of you, Mark, says Farmy. I don't know what this clip is. Looks like we're playing the game now, says Dale. And Hasib, welcome to the members club. So look, I think that I want to give a shout out for Sancho. I thought the reception from the fans was ridiculous, in a positive way. It was ridiculously emotional and exciting to see it. It was great, and seeing Martial back was fantastic. But I want to start on Martial because look, Sancho back is brilliant. It's been unprecedented in many ways that to have a player out that long for 3 months when they weren't really injured. They were just struggling with whatever it is, we don't know, but we had to be patient. Sancho came on. There was a few good passes. He lost the ball a couple of times, but look, the quality's there. Let's build on that. Let's be patient. Let's build it out. And it was great to have Sancho back. And we'll talk about him as a number 10 in a minute. But Martial, I think, showed again what he's all about. And I hope that some people in our fan base that don't rate Martial do start to see what some of us and Ten Hag love in Martial. It's what he does for others. He occupies defenders. He makes intelligent runs. He plays little layoffs. And Bruno, Sancho, and Rashford were getting so much space because Martial's pulling defenders all over the place. He's playing little passes. He's playing little intelligent runs and little flicks here, there and everywhere. And I was glad he scored because it was actually a lovely ball by Casemiro. Martial holds it up, plays it perfectly for Rashford, and you think Rashford's going to score again. Good block, comes back to Martial, he taps it in, and you go, there you go. You know, Martial gets a goal for once. So I think Martial, look, Weghorst is a very honest, hard-working player, and he will be valuable to us. But he ain't Martial, and Martial has to start. But the big problem we've got with Martial is fitness. It's like you don't know tomorrow if Ten Hag's going to say he's out for 2 weeks, and that's the problem. When Martial plays, we're a better team. When he doesn't play, we're a little bit worse. But how much can he play? And this is the thing. It's been the problem all season. But it was great to have Martial back. Stephen says, if Erik Ten Hag wins us a trophy or two and gets us into the top four, build this guy a statue, says Stephen. Really happy with the direction this club is going under Ten Hag. Looking forward to the new owners who will probably back him in the future, says Mr. Pip. And Erik Ten Hag has turned Lindelof into a CDM and trained Sancho into 10 because of the lack of board support. Happy but not ideal, says MNC. Water, welcome to the members club. And also Michael Holliban as well. Ray Carl Brown Amore is singing Wembley, Wembley, we're going to Wembley. Why am I being called Darth Vader, Mark? I don't know what that's all about. But look, you know, let me just talk. We're going to go through player ratings, but let's just talk about Lindelof as a CDM and Sancho as a 10. Now, I've been asked about this loads of times, and you know, I wouldn't say I get frustrated about it, but I dismiss it, and I'll explain to you why I dismiss it. So we'll use Lindelof. Over the years, people have said, why don't we use Lindelof as a CDM? And I will get really frustrated about it because I'll go, why are we using square pegs in round holes? Because I want us to buy Casemiro. I don't want Lindelof to play CDM for United because it's letting the Glazers off. It's using a player that we've got and putting them into a position that we need to buy in. So that's why I've probably always been a bit, no, I don't want it to happen. In these specific circumstances, I think it's genius and needed because if Casemiro gets injured, do you want Scott McTominay to play at CDM or do you want Lindelof to play there? And I actually think Lindelof's better suited to it. But it is a square peg in a round hole. And we need to buy somebody in the summer. But we can't buy anybody now. So I actually think, like the Luke Shaw thing, if Martinez got injured, I'd rather see Luke Shaw play left centre-back than Harry Maguire or Lindelof. Because it suits us better. And similarly, if Casemiro gets injured, I would rather see Lindelof play CDM or Martinez play CDM than Scott McTominay. So in these specific circumstances, I think it's genius. As a long-term solution, it would frustrate me because it means we're not spending the money on specialists. So I think that explains it. Dan Lake, thank you very much for joining the members club. Now with Sancho at number 10, I've always said I don't know why people talk about it. So well done for talking about it because you're right. You know, he can play there. The reason I was dismissive about Sancho as a 10 was because he got dropped from the team before he was off for 3 months because he wasn't tracking back. I mean, the famous one was when we were away in Turkey, was it? And he passed it to Malacia and then everyone ran past him and he didn't track back. Ten Hag was furious. So it didn't seem logical that that a position that you have to run around more in was going to be a position that we'd see Sancho in. Having said that, tonight we're at home against a team that's playing defensive, and I think Sancho as a 10 in an attacking sense makes a lot of sense because he can play left and right wing, so he can definitely play as a number 10. Whether Sancho could play as a number 10 away at Anfield, that's another question, isn't it? It's like saying, could Lindelof play as a CDM again at Anfield? I think they can do jobs there. I don't think Sancho's about to bench Bruno Fernandes because Bruno Fernandes was superb tonight and Bruno Fernandes' defensive work is unbelievable. I think Sancho can play as a number 10 when you're at home against a team that's playing a deep line. I don't think he can play away from home when you've got to put a shift in. That's my theory. But Ten Hag is a genius. He is incredible. Who knows what could happen? We might see Marcus Rashford as a centre-back at some point. Ryan says, look very strong with the front three of Sancho, Rashford and Martial. Fluid and threatening, and we're off to Wembley. Thank you, Ryan. Bruno's pass for Rashford's assist would be glorified if it was De Bruyne says Kino. I feel that Bruno was magnificent tonight. I know we're going to do the player ratings now, but I think Bruno was fantastic tonight. I liked him in the first half. There was a phase of play on the right and the left-hand side in the first 10 minutes where Bruno was conducting it. His energy is never in doubt. Some of his passing was magnificent. You're always going to get wasteful, Bruno. I mean, there was a couple of crosses and shots he shouldn't have hit, but I think that was one of Bruno's better games this season. I think he was, comfortably in the man of the match conversation. Yeah, definitely. Let's go through the player ratings. So Tom Heaton, he's on my screen at the moment, and he's having a chat on Carabao Cup duty with Roy Keane and Chapman and Dawson at the moment. I give him a 7 tonight. I thought he played well. I mean, look, he is definitely. It's a shame with Tom Heaton because actually he's the perfect reserve goalkeeper. He's happy to be a reserve goalkeeper. He's happy to be at Manchester United. He's happy to get the odd game. He ticks a lot of the boxes, and it'd be interesting to see if he gets the nod in the final. The problem about playing him in the final is we ain't playing Forest at Old Trafford or Reading. We're playing Newcastle, who are one of the best teams in the Premier League. And you might need a David De Gea world-class moment that Tom Heaton can't produce. So it'd be interesting how Ten Hag goes. I'm not against playing him in the final. I just think that if you're respecting the opposition, you've got to go with De Gea because he can pull off saves that Tom Heaton can't. But I thought he played well tonight. I really liked that save at the end where he, top corner hand save. Ten Hag just said on Sky that Sancho can play 10 and him and Bruno can interchange, and I like that, says Anthony Jury. Somebody just said there's no chance he'll play in the final. It'll be De Gea. I would play De Gea in the final for the reasons I've just said. But I thought he played well tonight, and I think he is the quintessential backup goalkeeper. He's well liked around the club, and he's happy to do that role. And, you think about Henderson, who just, to be honest with you, did cause problems, didn't want to be the reserve goalkeeper. That's unsettling, even if you agree with Henderson, whereas Tom Heaton is a stable, happy presence within the football club. Wan-Bissaka tonight, I personally think Wan-Bissaka was a 7 as well. I think he played well. There was, he attacked well, he defended well. Mr. Consistent, there was no crosses to the back post that we needed to worry about, and I still think Dalot is the better right back, but we don't know when Dalot's going to be back, and Wan-Bissaka's been a revelation at right back for me. Similarly, I think that Varane is just pure quality. Everything he did today was brilliant. I loved the first few minutes of the game where that high press, high line was in place, which we haven't seen for the last few games because we've tinkered with the centre backs. We've seen Lindelof and Martinez and Maguire and Lindelof, but we had the original goats at centre back tonight, Martinez and Varane, and the team was just so high up the pitch and comfortable. And Forest are quite quick, and we can play that high line when we've got Varane because he's quick. He's the quickest centre back we've got, and he's just so important. I was a bit worried when that tackle from Surridge went in, but him coming out in the second half was great. Martinez, again, I give him a 7. I thought Martinez, he's back to his best. I think he's obviously took a bit of time to get over the World Cup, but in the last week or two, he's been back to the best again. And again, with him and Varane, we're just, we can't lose one of those two. People talk about Rashford and Bruno and, Casemiro, but Varane and Martinez, they provide that high line, and that gets you up the pitch. They're so important. Luke Shaw for me, I'd give him a 7. I thought Luke Shaw played well. It surprises me that still I see criticism of Luke Shaw in the chat, and I just think he's so consistent, and I think our back four have been so consistent this season. And you think about the goals that we conceded last year, and how good the defence is this year. Another clean sheet as well. They're so consistent, and they deserve a massive amount of credit because they provide the platform that we succeed upon. I think the defence this season has provided the platform for the success. I think the most consistent thing about United is the defence, and I include Casemiro and De Gea in that. Those 6 players have provided us with the platform this season. The attacking football is coming. There's been some good goals, but the most consistent theme of our success has been that back 6. They've provided that platform this year. And I don't know how many people realise that, but it started with the Leicester wins and the Southampton wins in August. And it's been the platform throughout the season. And I think as we evolve under Ten Hag, we will become more attacking. And we are getting more and more possession in games now. But that defence has been the bedrock of everything. Ironically, if we win, Maguire will lift the trophy, says Talal. Look, I think we need to move past this. Harry Maguire is not a starting player for Man United. He is a valuable member of the squad. He is the club captain. He will lift the trophy. It's the way it will be. He won't start unless we have an injury, and that's the main thing. You know, as long as he's not starting, I don't really care if he comes on and wins the trophy. Good luck to him. And, you know, hopefully he'll do what he needs to do for his career in the summer and move on. But he's the club captain, and that's just the way it works. It's the same as Azpilicueta at Chelsea. What I hope happens, though, if Maguire comes on for a couple of minutes, I hope he gets Bruno to hold one handle, because that trophy's got 3 handles. So, look, I don't mind Maguire lifting it, but it should be like Brian Robson when he did it with Steve Bruce. You know, Maguire's not been playing, Bruno has. Hold it together, happy days. That's all I say. We've got to win it. We've got to win it first, you know. We've got to win it. That's what we've got to do. I don't want to disrespect Newcastle. I'll talk about them in a minute. What do we got? Casemiro, yeah. I mean, look, does he ever have a bad game? 7 from me. Give him an 8 if you want. Give him a 9. Give him whatever you want. I mean, he's hard to mark these days because he's just so bloody good. You take him out of our team, we're not the same team, are we? I mean, I could spend 20 minutes talking about this guy. I'll do it in 5. He is just world class. There is just no doubt that he is one of the best players in Europe. There is no doubt he's one of the best players in the Premier League. And if people doubt it, they don't know football and they're not watching Man United. He is everything to that team. He's absolutely fantastic. I can't think of a signing that's come into United and been so revolutionary for many years. He's took the team from that to that, and he does it every week. He's unbelievable. Fred, again, 7 for me. Got his goal. You know, I think we do miss Eriksen. Ten Hag said it. You can't replace Eriksen. We can't replace Eriksen. We've got Sabitzer to come into this team as well, but Fred works well with Casemiro. They've got that relationship from Brazil, and, you know, it wasn't a problem when we brought Sancho, Rashford and Martial on. So good performance from Fred. 2 goals in 2 games. Bruno, for me, was man of the match at 8. I'm going to give him man of the match. I thought his overall game was brilliant. He can play a couple of positions. He's a threat off the right because of the ball delivery. You know, we talk about Anthony and Garnacho and Rashford not putting crosses in quick enough. One thing about Bruno, on the right, naturally right-footed, got a lovely cross on him. It's a shame that Bruno went to the right and Weghorst came off, actually, because I saw Bruno putting crosses in and I was like, shit, Weghorst has gone off now. But I think that's one of Bruno's better games, and his work rate will never be questioned. But I think he had a fantastic game tonight, Bruno. And let's not forget, he is the captain of the team as well. I think his captaincy goes unnoticed. He has been the captain of this team pretty much for most of the season, and most of the season we've been winning. In fact, I'd love to know what Bruno's win ratio as captain is, because he wasn't captain against Brentford and Brighton. It was Maguire, wasn't it? So Bruno's win ratio as captain, there's something to go and check. It must be bloody massive. It must be, because he's been brilliant, absolutely brilliant. Anthony 6.5, yeah, I think that's about right. Fell off a little bit in the second half. I still think he's looking better game by game. I still think he's looking to be more direct. I still think he's developing. But yeah, he fell off a little bit in the second half. Garnacho probably a 6.5 as well. I think for a youngster, the development of him is fantastic. I think tonight was one of those nights for Garnacho where the things he tried didn't come off as much. But the fact that he tries them, he's always a player that makes things happen. And again, I think for the first 20 minutes, like Anthony, he looked really good. And then it just fell off a little bit. But maybe that's the contrast of Garnacho, Anthony and Weghorst going off, and then Martial, Sancho and Rashford coming on, and there's a big difference there. But yeah, not a bad performance. Weghorst, probably a 6 for me. Caught in a graveyard shift with two wingers that won't put crosses in. But when we did put an early cross in, he nearly scored a goal. But that was probably the highlight of his half. You know, he wasn't really in the game that much. His link-up play wasn't as good as it had been. But look, I'm happy we've got Weghorst. He's a very honest, hard-working player, and I think if you play to his strengths, he is an asset. Sancho, probably 6.5 from me. I could be generous and give him a 9 because it's great to have him back. But there were some good passes. Took up some good movement. A lot of space. Perfect game. Again, I loved Ten Hag on the touchline, smiling, giving him a hug before he went on. All these rumours that they've fallen out are bollocks. The patience that the fans have shown, but more importantly, that Sancho, the club, and Ten Hag have shown to get him back is absolutely fantastic. I think we've managed it perfectly. Fortunately, the players have managed it perfectly in his absence. There's been no pressure to get him back because of bad results. The results have been good. You get him on against Forest for 25 minutes at Old Trafford in a safe environment with loads of space and just say, go out there and express yourself. No real defensive capabilities needed. We've got to be patient with Sancho, but the path so far, it looks really well managed, and let's hope it continues. It's going to be very interesting with Sancho, though, to see how he gets involved now, because bringing him on against Forest when you're 3-0 up for half an hour, very easy. How does he get involved against Crystal Palace or Leeds or Barcelona in games where, we've had our last easy game now. I don't want to be disrespectful, but we were 3-0 up against Forest. Every game now, it starts 0-0. And every game now matters, all the way, everywhere. We've got 4 Premier League games that matters. We've got 2 Europa League games against Barcelona that matter. We've got a Carabao Cup final against Newcastle that matters. Then we've got West Ham in the FA Cup that matters. Then we've got Liverpool at Anfield. Everything matters. So how we introduce Sancho and where we introduce him, can he get a first team spot? If he wants a first team spot, he's going to have to take Antony or Rashford's place. If he wants to be coming off the bench, then, maybe that's what will happen with him. But I'm interested to see where Sancho fits in now. Where does he get his spot at United? But we'll see. Rashford, lively as ever, 6.5 for me. Nearly got his goal. Nice little flicks in the form of his life. Very, very happy with Rashford. Martial, I'd probably push him to a 7. I think Martial was the best of the 3. Obviously not just because of his goal. I think considering he's been injured, Martial looked the more involved of the 3. All of them did really well, but Martial looked bang on it. I don't know why. There was no rust. He was absolutely on it. Every time he got the ball, you felt something was going to happen. He looked motivated. He looked up for it. The thing about Martial is it's just, can he stay fit? Can Anthony Martial stay fit for Manchester United? It's as simple as that. I don't think he can. I don't want to be negative tonight, but I wouldn't be surprised if he was injured for the Barcelona game, let alone the Carabao Cup final game. And we're not jinxing it. He's had 4 separate injuries this year. How long can Anthony Martial stay fit? That's the big question. Really? Hi Mark, describe Ten Hag in one word. I love United. Incredible, Jonathan. It says it in the title of the video. Smash a like on the video for Ten Hag. Absolutely fantastic. We just need to find a way to keep Anthony Martial fit. I mean, you know what's scary? This season's been really good. Imagine what it would have been if Martial had stayed fit for most of it. Where would we be? Go back to all those games where we had an unhappy Ronaldo playing and I don't know how many points we dropped. We probably didn't drop that many, but yeah. Lindelof came on, did a 6.5 for me. Maguire came on and did a 6. Well, come on. How can you give Maguire below average? I mean, he played a couple of nice passes. He didn't do anything to lose an average 6. Oh, come on. Be generous. Erik Ten Hag, 8 for me. And maybe I'm assessing everything. I think with every game I have to add a little bit more because the run we're on is incredible. The substitutions, the team selections, it just works. People come into that team with a smile on their face. Tom Heaton comes in with a smile on his face. Wan-Bissaka is completely rejuvenated. Sancho comes back in as a 10, smile on his face. Martial ready to go. There's no deadwood. There's no There's no slump. There's no go through the gears. It's on the pitch. Let's go. Let's go. Let's go. All the time. The levels in that team, the standards in that team, the demands in that team are exactly what the fans want to see. And that's why the fans are so happy, because they're responding to it time in, time out. Let's see who got your man of the match. I would say it will be Bruno. And I'm very happy to say that it is Bruno Fernandes. It's nice to see a variety in the man of the match as well, you know. I tell you what, it's nice to see so many United players getting higher than a 6.5. That just wasn't happening, really, was it, in the days before? But yeah, absolutely fantastic from Jadon Sancho. Absolutely fantastic from Manchester United to be back in the team. But Bruno Fernandes deserves to be man of the match tonight. He's been brilliant. And I you know what? As I keep saying, I think with Bruno Fernandes, it's also important to remember that he is the captain of this team, and it probably doesn't get the credit it deserves, because captaining aside, I'd love to know what his win percentage is. You could probably figure it out, but he wasn't captain against Brentford and Brighton, so that's two. We've not lost many games this year, so he can't have lost many games as captain of Man United, can he? He's got to be on a really good run. So yeah, absolutely incredible run from Manchester United. And you know what? As much as it's been quite smooth, Man United in a cup final is not a normal thing. So Newcastle, let me just talk about Newcastle. I'd expect us to beat Forest in the Carabao Cup semi-final. Newcastle, that final is going to be electric. Newcastle fans are excited. Newcastle fans are, you know, passionate. And that final will be, although it's a Carabao Cup final, that final will be electric. Newcastle are going to be up for that. We're going to have to play really, really well to win that game. That'll be a tough final. I'll put us as favourites marginally, but remember, we'll have played Barcelona on Thursday night, and they'll have had a whole week off. We remember what happened with Villa. This could be Villa all over again. You play a Spanish team on a Thursday night where you have to put a lot of effort in, and then you go and play a team that's had a whole week off who's totally up for it. So it'll be tough. It'll be a tough game, that. But we can win. If we both had a week off and it was us against them, I'd fancy us to win. But look, respect on Newcastle's name. That's going to be a really, really good final. And we're not there yet. You know, I think Ten Hag, one of the things Erik Ten Hag will be saying is, we've had a really good season, but we're not in the top four yet. We've not won a trophy yet. And if we lose to Newcastle, where's the next trophy coming from? You know, we might be knocked out by Barcelona. Man City are still in the FA Cup. So as much as it looks like at the moment that we're going to get top four and a trophy, it's not easy. It's not going to be easy to do it. Erik Ten Hag said he's not Harry Potter, but he's surely looking more like Dumbledore, says Neil. And welcome to the Members Club Junior. Let's get a smash and let's get a like on this video for Ten Hag and Bruno, by the way. The captain and the manager. I think they've been incredible. And I think they were incredible tonight. Apparently, and I don't know whether this is true, but Bruno Fernandes' win percentage as captain for Manchester United is 89%. I'm going to tweet it, even if it's right or wrong. Bruno win percentage as captain. Not caption. Captain. How do you spell captain? Oh, I should know this. Equals 89%. I nearly put 98%. 89%. Wow. That is amazing. Absolutely amazing. And that's what I mean about Bruno. I think people sometimes analyse his game and his misplaced passes. But captaincy is important. I'm a big advocate of that. The Roy Keanes of this world, the Brian Robsons of this world, even outside Man United, the John Terrys, the Steven Gerrards, the Vincent Kompanys, the Sergio Ramos. That the captain of a team is very important. It binds the team. It communicates the team. The team has to respect it. We saw last year that there was division in the dressing room. People didn't trust and respect each other. The manager can be respected, but you need somebody on the pitch to do that. And I don't know why it doesn't get picked up enough by the media, by journalists, even by some of our fans. Bruno Fernandes as captain of Manchester United is ridiculous. And, you know, it's superb what he's done. And the run we're on is amazing, and the players deserve it. Absolutely, they really do. Anyway, the fan forum's going to start shortly. I don't know whether it started already, but I'll put you on the live chat. They're going to be in the studio. Looking forward to seeing what people have got. Hopefully having a bit of a party, joining on the fan forum in the studio. One of my favourite shows of the week. We'll see you over there. I'll be back on the 10 o'clock show tomorrow. Make sure you subscribe, smash a like on the video, and I'll speak to you all in a bit.